I got distracted playing Halo Wars 2.
Ah, yes.
And I completed the game, so I feel like I had more thoughts, and I just didn't get around to restarting BioShock 2 yet. So we're going to roll with it. Halo Wars 2 is a sequel to Halo Wars, if you could imagine such a thing.
What?
Yeah. They were both
made a second one?
Yes. They were both produced by Creative Assembly, and then Halo Wars 2 was also developed by 343 Industries alongside Creative Assembly. Creative Assembly is a real-time strategy game developer. This is an RTS. I don't like RTSs. I suck at them. I really like this game. I have yet to play through Halo Wars. I've completed the tutorial of the original, but I have yet to actually go through the story. As far as I can tell, while it follows the same crew on the Spirit of Fire, one of the UNSC ships, there's a very large time gap between the two games. So there are characters characters between the two, but there is not a direct story plotline carryover. Basically, in the end of Halo Wars, in 2552, right around the end of the Human Covenant War, the Spirit of Fire got lost in deep space or some bullshit, and everyone went into cryosleep, because of course. So then 7 years later, this picks up with the Spirit of Fire arriving at the Ark, which you would probably know from Halo 3 as one of the locations. It's the forge where they make the Halo rings. So it has super uber mega controls, and it looks cool. And they meet what was at the time a new faction called the Banished. They're a Covenant offshoot, but they're cool this time. Unlike Halo 4's Julian Dama's Covenant sucked ass and was boring. The Banished are basically a mixture of mercenaries and like mostly Jiralhanae, the brutes, that are almost entirely uninterested in the religious significance of the Covenant, but they are here for the power, baby. So it's a bunch of brutes with late epic cool black and red coloring who are just like power hungry, and it works so much better.
I think they're like the orcs from Warhammer 40k.
They're pretty similar. They're also similar to, like, I would say the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings in comparison to like orcs or goblins a little. They are led by Atriox, the biggest war chief of them all. He's a big fella. He's quite intimidating. And we get this new conflict with this new group of similar aliens we've seen before, but in a new context. Turns out they also were kind of lost in deep space. Don't worry about it. They've been like coalescing various Covenant splinter factions, as well as recruiting primarily Jiralhanae, because they're big monkey go burr. It's a different aesthetic than the Covenant, but that does have a lot in common. They have a lot of the same types of vehicles, but they have way cooler paint jobs and a bunch of new stuff. So the vibe is different. And the Spirit of Fire just randomly bumps into the Banished on the Ark because, of course, they want the Ark. And they go, this is bad. We should probably fight these guys. This takes place just before Halo 5 Guardians, roughly. Somewhat alongside, but because they take place in very different parts of the galaxy and the Spirit of Fire has no direct communications with any other UNSC vessels, they're just kind of out there on their own getting fucked. It's weird, I will admit. I remember hearing about this when it came out because I've always been into Halo, so I knew about it. I remember the build up after this was like, oh, the Banished are definitely like the new thing now because we needed to make the Covenant work, but not just kind of recycle the same stuff. And that moved forward into Halo Infinite, which did work out really well on that portion of Halo Infinite anyways. Like them as a faction, they have a lot more substance to them than the previous Covenant splinter factions, and certainly more than the fucking Prometheans. So I remember hearing about all of that stuff, but I've just never liked real-time strategy. I don't like playing on a computer, and that is what real-time strategy is made for. I just don't like that. Unlike your typical RTS, Halo Wars was designed to be played on console, which is weird and very uncommon for that subgenre of game. And that turned out pretty well for them back in the 2009 or 2010, I believe. And Halo Wars 2 is just an evolution on top of that. So I have started playing them reverse chronological. I don't care. it's a weird setup, having like a big time jump. No necessary. It's just an additional adventure from the same crew of people with some new folk. It's odd. But yeah, that's, I guess, the story. So then I believe it's 12 missions in total, is just you landing on the Ark, figuring out what the fuck is going on, trying to figure out what the fuck the Banished even are, what they want, what they're doing, and utilizing the resources that you have on hand. The story itself is pretty straightforward. Oh, they found this control room. We're going to go take that. Oh, we need to scout out this. Oh, shit, we should take this group over here. It's pretty straightforward plotting. In the end, they end up kind of defeating the Banished, not to smithereens, but they do push them back hard enough that they are consolidated to a small area of the Ark, but they do continue fighting. And one of the characters from the story, in a late epic post-credit scene, travels, takes a fucking Halo ring and like travels through slip space and bumps into a Guardian from Halo 5. We don't know what the fuck happens to her yet. It's an odd story. It kind of, I don't want to say wraps up loose ends necessarily, because that sounds weird. It lays a good foundation for what was a big pivot at the time for 343. And I do think it works really well on that front as a lore vehicle, to say. Sounds kind of mean, but I like that. It's fine. The characters are all pretty straightforward. Frankly, none of them really stand out except for Atriox, which is totally fine. He's fucking awesome. What is it? Commander Shepard, I believe, is the head of the UNSC Infinity. He's alright. That's really it.
Is that a reference to Mass Effect?
I might be going crazy. Please hold, because I'm gonna need to correct myself. Is it?
Because that would be really funny.
That'd be really on the nose. It might be though. Nope. Never mind. I'm dumb. James Cutter. Sorry. The characters are all fine. They serve their purposes well enough. They're pretty standard archetypes, but I think for a game like this, where it is so focused on gameplay and the story is primarily contained to pre-rendered cutscenes, it works pretty well. There's a few teams of Spartan, I think 3s. They might be 2s, but I'm pretty sure they're Spartan 3s. Jerome is the only one of them who has any particular personality. He is one of the more legendary figures among the Spartan program, other than, John Big Boy himself. Where was I going? I did play all of the DLCs. So the continued story, one is included in the season pass system for this game. All of the stuff in there is just cosmetics and more stuff from multiplayer mode I'll talk about later. It includes one DLC with additional missions. There's, I think, 2 or 3 of them, where you play as a team of ODSTs. Just after the primary conflict, trying to, I believe, scout out a different area and get some information. That one's fine. I think it's standalone $10. It's a little steep for that. The big one was not included in the season pass because it is a pretty solid expansion. It is Awaken the Nightmare, where it turns out that the Banished stumble across the Flood on the Ark. And that's bad, because the Flood is bad. It's like 5 missions, and it is very good. Continuing to sow potential seeds for other stuff to pick up on later of the Flood still existing somewhere within this galaxy. Getting to play as the Banished is fucking awesome. It offers an equal amount of depth, but with different gameplay quirks because of the differences between their vehicles and machinery, but does generally serve the same function. Yeah, they unearth the Covenant, not the Covenant, Jesus. They unearth the Flood and go, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck. The Flood nearly takes over the Ark, and then they push them back just enough. And that's kind of the end of it. The story on that one is not deep nor interesting, but it is fucking sick. The big standout for this game, for I think most people, especially someone like myself who's not inherently interested in real-time strategy, is the presentation is fucking immaculate. The pre-rendered cutscenes, if I remember correctly, are done by Blur, who also worked on everything shiny you've ever seen. Like every good MOBA top-down PC-based game, they probably did the pre-rendered cutscenes for. So everything from like Blizzard, they've been working on for decades. They're incredible. They also helped do the cutscenes for Halo 2 Anniversary, which also looks amazing. So the cutscenes are like ridiculously goated. Stylistically, in terms of the internal debates within the Halo fan base over art styles and designs, it's a pretty happy medium between the earlier stuff from Bungie, as well as some of the new designs, primarily for like Forerunner architecture and objects and like Sentinels that were introduced in Halo 4 and 5. But it is not. It's a pretty good spot in the middle. It's more detailed. It is a little bit more sci-fi, militarized science fiction stuff, more similar to the new games, but it does keep a strong level of cartoonishness that I did not expect. Because of the way that you play the game, all of the units have strong color coding. It's really goofy, and I love it. Like, all of your banished forces are bright cherry red. It's not necessarily a literal representation of what they look like in either the cutscenes nor the lore, where it'd be like a crimson and a lot more silver, whatever. It makes it easy to see on the map, and it maintains a good level of visibility, which is really cool. All of the designs are consistent and easy to recognize, whether it be ships or characters, especially because your individual units are so damn small on the map. That also does carry into the cutscenes. It does have the Halo 2 anniversary look, which is hard to describe otherwise without going into stupid details. It's really well directed and lit. The Flood now have lights on them, which is silly, but bioluminescence is cool, so I don't care. They have like orange-red pustules, so they glow in the dark. It's pretty fucking cool. In addition, for more presentation stuff, the score, I believe, was composed by Gordy Hobb. I think he worked on some of the like spin-off mobile games. It's really good. It does have a couple of short bits of previous motifs for the Covenant and the humans. They do not just, finish the fight every 3 seconds, but it does maintain a lot of the Halo vibe. Hard to describe. If you know it, you know it. The Awaken the Nightmare DLC does have an additional score, also done by Gordy Hobb, that was really, really good. That one has a lot more carried over motifs from The Flood that worked really, really well for me. I listen to them in the background while I do other stuff. So that was really cool. The user interface is okay. Again, presentation-wise, it functions fairly well. It does take a while to boot up the game initially on console, but beyond that, it's pretty snappy. They do have a lot of horizontal menus, which is annoying. Most people prefer vertical menus. I don't know exactly why 343 has just pushed for horizontal menus forever now. But it still runs pretty smoothly. There are not huge load times. They just load before the level. It may take like a minute or two, but that's also when they set up the specifics of the story for this mission. You're with this group. They're talking to these people to find out this. So you have voiceover dialogue while it's loading. So it does make a good use of its time, I think. They made an RTS you can play on a controller. I know it wasn't original to this game. Halo Wars did it earlier, and other games have done it, but this works really intuitively from like what I understand. It's still pretty simple for an RTS, also from what I understand from a bird's eye view, but you have basic camera controls with the left and right sticks. You can zoom in and out a little bit. You'll hover over an object, it'll be highlighted in blue. You press A to select this shelter or bunker or whatever. And then it gives you options that you can navigate using the right thumbstick, and then you can press A again to confirm choice. It's really simple. Selecting unit types is also pretty easy. There is, if you hover over, say, a squad of Marines, your basic unit type, it'll give you a little ring around them. It highlights it. You press A, you're selected this group of Marines. If you double tap A while you're hovering over it, it'll recruit all of the unit types for that thing. So all the Marines, or all the Warthogs, or all of the Anything, all of that. So you can order very specific things to actually implement the rock, paper, scissors type gameplay of an RTS, where you need to counter, infantry with vehicles, and vehicles are conquered by air. And to get rid of air, you need anti-air, but anti-air is really susceptible to infantry, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't mean you just have to throw everything you have and hope it works. I did that a lot because I'm not smart. But
That's what I do.
I did it a lot, but you don't have to, and it makes it a lot easier to actually play the game more as it's intended. You can also select all local units with the right bumper, I believe. So everything that's on screen and mobile, or all global units across the map, you can double tap right bumper. That's really helpful. A lot of the levels, I would end up kind of having a roaming squad of goons of everything I could have, infantry, vehicles, anti-air, all of it would just kind of migrate around the map in one big giant cluster. It is not the most effective way to play, but it worked well enough. Weird stuff. When you have your base, you get, you need to produce electricity and material. You can collect both of them on the map in very scarce amounts. You can get some material to build stuff with, and you can take over generators because it's a giant forerunner structure that'll just generate electricity for you. You can upgrade both of those to increase your output speed, basically. You have armories to train your infantry people to be better or to get better types of infantry. You can upgrade your base to include more resistance to damage. You can add turrets. You can specify what you want the turret to be, anti-air, anti-infantry, and so on. You have a garage to make land vehicles. You have an air pad for air vehicles. It's really straightforward. As someone who knows a little too much about this bullshit lore and all the science fiction nonsense behind it, it's really easy to figure out what you want to do if you already understand what all the vehicles are, or most of the vehicles. Just having all of the shorthand already down makes it really easy. But it does include a lot of on-screen information. So when you pull up your garage, if your base is at level 2 or whatever, you can select, a Wolverine, which is an anti-air Warthog variant. You can select a regular Warthog, which is an anti-infantry vehicle. You can then upgrade more to get one of the vehicles I don't remember. You can get, a Scorpion. It all seems pretty straightforward. It'll tell you this is effective against this enemy type. This has this range. It's susceptible to this. That's all really simply laid out. And it doesn't feel too cluttered, which is weird because it's a lot of information going on screen. It still feels pretty clear on what to do. If you feel overwhelmed, it's probably just because you're panicking and there's a bunch of shit going on. It's not like the match can turn over really quickly in 45 seconds. You're watching the dominoes fall in slow motion. If you didn't put stuff in the right spots, you don't have enough resources to build the right enemy types, you can panic sweat through it, but you don't want to do that. So it does actually feel like a skill issue. It's bad planning, bad resource management, rather than it just being fuck you. There's, like I said, probably 12-ish missions. Each one also has collectible skulls, a couple of audio logs, as well as a couple of challenges on each level, corresponding to some achievements. Make it through this mission with this amount of Marines, or don't let the generator here fall below 50% health. Stuff like that. Pretty straightforward. I got maybe half of them kind of without trying. A lot of them would require a considerable amount of effort and planning ahead of time and way more familiarity with the game. So I just kind of scatterbrained, found most of the audio files, a few skulls, and some of the challenges are kind of easy gimmies unless you, for some reason, take a really weird path. Kind of similar to especially the Bungie era games. Each match is 30 to 45 minutes, each mission. There's only a couple of them that are pretty linear and only take a little bit. The introductory mission is getting you used to vehicle controls, where you don't have a base, or there's a few of them where you're doing infiltration with a handful of units and you have to use teleporters, so you don't have a base. Those ones are a little shorter, but all of the major missions are at minimum 30 minutes. You can get par time and par scores. Pretty normal stuff. I did fairly well for what I was expecting. I didn't just get bottom tier. I busted through it. I only had to rage quit a couple times. I got through on my first try for at least 50% of the missions, and probably another 25% was on my second or third. There was one of them that I was really stuck on for a while. I don't remember which one it was, and I don't care. Basically, the same thing goes for both DLC packages. They're pretty well balanced. If you understand the systems, okay, you'll do fine. Some of them obviously have like unique objectives, especially in Awaken the Nightmare. You have to navigate with a lot of like jetpack brutes to go around structures and activate bridges. And oh shit, the flood's popping up over here. So you have to do multitasking of these units over here, these units over there. They're doing different things. But again, it all runs pretty automated. So once you select what they're going to do, they're going to do it until they die. Pretty fucking cool. Like everything else I have for thoughts is particularly niche and specific of like this one thing I like that they made it this button to do it in this weird finger combination. Like it was fun. It was relatively intuitive. It looks good. It's shiny. I played some of the multiplayer. There are two primary multiplayer modes. There is your regular PvP. You know, there's basic match differences. You'll have more similar to like CTF or Team Deathmatch or Capture the Flag, whatever. You have slight variations. Most of the matches are, I believe, 3v3. You can run them with bots. So you'll have 3 real people against 3 bots. That is very helpful because it gives the game longevity. I am playing this 8 to 9 years after release, which is insane to think about, but it still functions pretty well on that front. People online who still play it are sweats, kind of a given. But again, running it with AI is fine. It doesn't affect like achievements to get a certain amount of score on a multiplayer match on this map or whatever. There's a decent map rotation. It played fine. There is also I guess the big selling point for this game, because it was the 2010s and everything had a fucking card game in it. You have Blitz. I like Blitz. I didn't think I was going to. I've remembered I tried it because the Blitz demo is free, or near release, maybe up to like 2020. I tried a couple of times and I couldn't get the hang of it. Once you understand how the game functions, it's way easier. You kind of have to run and gun. You get a hand of cards that all have certain costs. You get Marines for 40 points or whatever. You have to teleport them in at a certain location. Otherwise, you lose a bunch of health and resources. You have to scavenge the map for electricity and material, and all that then has its like subtypes of kind of like strongholds. It's a lot of strongholds type stuff for Blitz. It's okay for a card game because you can still play without playing money. You get a new pack of cards every time you complete a mission. There's a daily login reward, basic stuff, but it makes it work. And the cards aren't disposable. So it's not Halo 5's Warzone, where all of those cards will be burned when you use them, and you have to get an infinite supply of them. Once you have a card, you just have more cards. They're under each character's type of deck, so you can play as Cutter. You'll have a lot of UNSC forces that you control more like you're on a big ship. You can have different banished leaders, all that sort of stuff. And they all play a little differently. If you're playing as like the friendly AI, you can use a lot of Sentinel units. That was kind of cool. I don't know. For a card game, it works okay. As far as I know, you can buy them with real money, but it doesn't feel like it pushes it too hard, and it doesn't feel like I just struggle through. I did maybe like 5 or 6 matches just to get the hang of it, and it was okay. I'm still kind of playing it here and there when I have some time. Each match still takes like 30 to 45 minutes, so they're not short by any means. It's kind of hard to just pick up and play, but it works okay. I don't know. The fact that was like the big marketing push, and they also made the demo free for the first like 5 hours or whatever. They really wanted that to take off, but it doesn't come across as overly gimmicky, which I'm pretty impressed by, because I, as have mentioned, I think 3 episodes in a row now, I hate card systems in games. They never work.
Never say never, my friend.
Rarely. They usually come across as a massive gimmick and a money suck for whales. And they're also pretty unintuitive to whatever games they're with. Why the fuck does Rise of the Tomb Raider have cards? I'm still mad about it. Yeah. I played it for free on Game Pass, which was very helpful. I believe you can get a used copy of the game for like $10. I believe it's also very frequently on sale for probably half price, so like $30. There's a couple of different editions of the game. Base game is base game. You can get the base game with the season pass, which will give you a bunch of unlockable character skins and avatars. And like I can now play as fucking Master Chief and multiplayer. It's fine. I have no interest in any of it because I don't want to get that involved in it, but you can do it. The prices are a bit steep, but it doesn't feel too obtrusive to the game actually functioning. Then the Awaken the Nightmare DLC is a sold separately thing. That's, I believe, $20 or $30. It's a little steep, but I really, really enjoyed it. The aesthetic changes of getting to view the Flood from a different angle, playing as the Banished in like a campaign setting rather than just playing as them in multiplayer was really cool. I like how much additional lore it gives you. The story is solid, if not like super exciting. You play as a couple of really idiot war chief brutes who are like, shit, we kind of found the Flood. Whoopsies. We need to fix this before Atriox's daddy comes back. It's fine. Like, I don't know. So I think I paid out of pocket like 30 or 40 bucks just to buy both of the DLCs because I didn't care to buy the season pass. I think this is just permanently on Game Pass now because it is a Microsoft owned studio. So it was pretty all right. I probably would have paid money for this if I knew that I would like it, or if I, for some reason, was already into RTSs. You can play it on PC. It is an Xbox Play Anywhere game, which is helpful. Really surprising, like 7 out of 10 on this one. Like, I'm not really into it, but I was sucked in. I got through it. I had fun. I wasn't super frustrated. I enjoyed it. I'm still thinking about it a little bit, but I don't want to dive into RTSs, head first. So that's
all right.
That's
so bunch of questions. What's your experience with other RTSs?
I can't tell you anything. I think
Really?
I might have picked one up at someone's house. Like, I could have watched someone play and then been like, hey, can I fuck around with that? They're always far too visually obnoxious. There's way too much stuff going on screen. A lot of them are really fast as well, despite the fact that the real-time strategy part kind of means you get to play a game of dominoes in slow motion. It still felt way too fast whenever I'd go watch some new release of something. I'd go watch a short gameplay video, and it just doesn't appeal to me. It's just not the type of game I really like to play. So pretty much nothing.
I've tried a bunch, and the only one I ever finished was Empire at War, the Star Wars one. That one was surprisingly to this day, I'm surprised I got through that. What are the odds of you getting all the achievements in this game, or attempting it?
All of them, never.
You're just gonna dump it, or
I'm not gonna dump it. I still have it installed. With the DLCs, it's like double your average achievement count. I got, I think, about 25% based on just playing the story on normal, and getting some stuff. There's some of your basic, play the new game mode, complete the tutorial. I'm gonna do some more cleanup on those. I might try to get some par time or par score on some of the levels. My completionist brain is not going off for this, which is cool because it's releasing me from my prison, my self-made fucking prison.
what difficulty did you play it on, and what options are there?
Normal all the way through, your traditional Halo options. Easy, normal, heroic, legendary, and then you can add skulls if you have found them. And I think most people know what skulls are. So They're just difficulty modifiers.
I was going to ask if they work the same.
As far as I can tell, yes. I only found a few and I never used them, but it appears so based on the menu choices. I think my total playtime was about 30 hours so far. Probably 25 of that was just doing story stuff, including all the DLCs. The main story is probably about 10 hours of gameplay and cutscenes. It feels like I got a decent chunk out of it, but it is not obsessive, nor is it infinite.
Are you going to play through Halo 1 soon?
Halo Wars 1? Yes. I started it. I played the tutorial. That was the other thing. One of the upgraded editions of this does come with a definitive, slightly remastered version of Halo Wars.
I didn't know they remastered it ish.
Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't release it physically. I think it was initially only when you bought the premium Ultimate Super Edition of Halo Wars 2, and then they released it separately for $20, I think.
Weird.
I think that's also on one of the versions of Game Pass, so I do have access to it. I started it. I loaded it up just to see what are the general differences. The control scheme's a little different. Obviously, the style is different, but it plays pretty close. I just completed the tutorial. I just haven't focused back in on that. But I do plan on playing that, probably to the same extent.
So when you finish with Halo Wars 1, and I'm going to tell our fans the story of how I bought you a little piece of actual real life history. When you're done with Halo Wars 1, are you finally going to play Battle for Middle Earth 2?
Yes.
Yes. Let's go.
Yeah, now that I have a basic understanding, I have the discs, I have a disk drive to download them, and I'm not in the middle of playing that many things on my laptop, so I have the space.
It's only like 8 actual CDs that you have to download it with.
And they still only come up to like 5 gigs. Old
only
discs,
come up to what? You broke up?
like 8 gigs or something. It's still really small just because it's so
exactly.
old. It's like when it was, what was it? Like Final Fantasy VII was like 5 discs at launch. And it's like, the game's big, but not by today's standards.
Right.
Good time.
Very good.